Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I'm Dr. Frahat Ali, and in this video we will learn that how we can perform independent sample t-test in SPSS. I'm going to present you two situations. In one situation, p-value will be less than 0.05, and in second situation, p-value will be greater than 0.05. We will see that how we can perform independent sample t-test in SPSS, and we will also learn that how we can interpret the results of t tables. First of all, if you want to perform independent sample t-test, you have to click on analyze option, and this dataset will be available under the video description. You can download this file from the link and you can perform the same analysis to learn the independent sample t-test. You have to go to analyze, then you will see an option of compare means and proportions, and here you can find out independent sample t-test. If you are using previous versions of SPSS, you will find out compare means option rather than compare means and proportions option. So I'm going to select independent sample t-test. Here I need two things. Independent sample t-test asks us that we have to provide an independent variable with two categories and a dependent variables which should be measured on interval or ratio level. I'm going to mention it here. Independent variable, categorical, and it should have two categories, and its categories should not be greater than two. Like if I'm going to take gender as independent variable, it should have two categories like male and female. There are more categories are available in gender portion or sex portion, but we are going to take only two categories, male and female. If you have more than three or four categories, then you can use ANOVA test, analysis of variance. The other option could be independent variable. You can take education, and here we have to take educated, and second would be uneducated. Look, I'm going to take only two categories and I'm not adding other options. Similarly, you can take locality option where you can take rural and urban option. Similarly, if you are going to take marital status as independent variable, and you can take only married or single, first single and second would be married. So what do you need? You need two variables. One would be your independent variable, which should be measured on categorical level, and you should have only two categories for your independent variable, like I have mentioned in front of you. The second, you need your dependent variable, dv, and this variable should be measured on interval or ratio level. You can measure their political knowledge, and you can measure this political knowledge on Likert scale. If you are taking political knowledge as a variable and you have measured on Likert scale, then you can use it as interval in independent sample t-test. Similarly, self-esteem, life satisfaction. If we particularly talk about life satisfaction as dependent variable, what do you have to do? You need a variable, a scale of life satisfaction, and this could be the questions in dependent variable of life satisfaction. In most ways my life is close to ideal, the condition of my life are excellent, I am satisfied with my life, so far I have got the important things I want in life, if I could live my life again I would change almost nothing. These are all the statements. You have to club them and make a variable so you can use it as dependent variable in test variable option. So here I'm going to take gender as grouping variable, and I have to define it what numbers I have given them. Like I have defined male as 1 and female as 2. I can show you, like here is sex, and here you can see male are defined as 1 and females are defined as 2. You can define it as 0 or 1 or 100 or 200. It's up to you. It doesn't change your result. So you can use 1 or 2 value or 3 or 4 values. It's up to you. The second thing, we need a dependent variable for independent sample t-test. Here I'm going to keep the grouping variable here, define the groups. You can name group 1 as 1 and group 2 as 2. And what other things I have to mention here, in the test variable, it means you have to put your dependent variable in test variable box. I'm going to keep self-esteem as my dependent variable or test variable. SPSS called your test variable as dependent variable, and if you have 2 or 3 dependent variables, you can keep all of those variable in test variable box. But if you are taking 2 or 3 dependent variables, SPSS performed 2 or 3 independent sample t-tests separately, because for independent sample t-test we just need only one independent variable and one dependent variable. Okay, there is no need to tick any other option in option or bootstrap. And what do you have to do? You just have to click on the OK button. But before clicking on the OK button, we will have to see that what is our hypothesis that we want to test through independent sample t-test. Here I have an example. Like if you are going to take this situation, a study was conducted to examine the total self-esteem of a sample of males and females. The data was analyzed using independent sample t-test, and the results are presented below. Formulate the null and alternative hypothesis. So here we are going to formulate our null and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is there is no significant difference in the mean self-esteem scores for males and female. There is no need to mention this null hypothesis in your research paper or dissertation thesis. The alternative hypothesis will be there is a significant difference in the mean self-esteem score for males and females. You can exclude significant word if you want to, and you can mention this alternative hypothesis in your thesis or research paper. But you will find out that most of the paper prefer to use a directional hypothesis rather than this non-directional hypothesis. This is a non-directional hypothesis because we are not saying that male are more have more self-esteem than females, or females have more self-esteem than male. If you make your hypothesis in this way, then we call this hypothesis as directional hypothesis. Currently, the alternative hypothesis is non-directional, and because we are not taking any side, we are just saying there is a significant difference in mean score for male or female self-esteem. And there are some assumptions to perform this test. Before performing this test, like you have to test the homogeneity of the variance, which is also Levine's test, and we will see that whether this assumption was approved or not in our test. And next thing is you have to see the outliers should not be there, though your dependent variable should be normal. And the fourth one is independence of observation. Independence of observation means people when you have collected the data, the each participant should have given their own answer, rather than they should not be cheating, or they should not take help from each other during the collection of the data. Okay, the next thing is the interpretation. First of all, we will going to perform this test. Here I'm going to click on the OK button. Okay, so we'll receive 3 tables: group statistics table, independent sample test table, and third one, independent sample effect sizes table. You will receive this last table in SPSS 28 and 29 version. For the previous versions, you have to calculate it manually. So I'm going to take group statistics and independent sample t-test table, and I'm going to see, I have already mentioned this table here. So let's start with the first table. In the first table, you have to see what is the mean value of males and female, and second, you can see how many males or females you have taken for your study. So there are 184 male in this dataset, and females are 252. And mean score for the male life satisfaction self-esteem is 34.02, and female is 33.17. As you can see, there is a little difference between these two means. Male have more self-esteem than females, but we are not sure because the difference is too small. So what other things we have to see in this table? No, there's no need to check any other value, and you have to go for second table, which is independent sample test table. And here you have to first check the Levene's test assumption, which is equality of the variance. And here you have to see the significance value. If this significance value is above 0.05, then you can say that your assumption is okay. Here we can see p value is greater than 0.05, which is 0.06 in the current form. So we can say equal variance assumed, and we have to read the above line. If we find out the value is 0.002, then it means we have violated the assumption of Levene's test, and now we have to read the below line, and we will say the equal variance is not assumed. The solution to the violation of this assumption is available in the same table. You just have to read the above line if the assumption is approved, and you have to read the below line if the assumption is violated. This is a simple solution. So what about the hypothesis that we have made in the start, which is whether there is a difference in self-esteem score for males and females? So you have to see the two-sided p-value, which is 0.105, and this value is greater than 0.05. So we can say our null hypothesis is accepted. And if this value is, if we get this value below 0.05, then we can say our alternative hypothesis is accepted. In the current form, this value is greater than 0.05, so we are accepting our null hypothesis, which is there is no difference in, there is no significant difference in the mean self-esteem score for males and females. So we have to write this. You can write an independent sample t-test was conducted to compare self-esteem score for males and females. We checked the assumption of homogeneity at the variance and normality, and we found no violation of these assumptions. If there is no violation, because in the current scenario there is no violation of homogeneity the variance assumption. You can watch my other videos for how to check the normality of your dependent variable. And the next, you have to mention the Levene's test significance value is above threshold. So we found no violation of this assumption. The result shows that there was no significant difference in score for males, which is this mean score for males and standard deviation value, and females mean value is this and standard deviation value is this. Then you have to mention the comma and semicolon, sorry, and you have to mention T. Then you have to mention degree of freedom, which is mentioned here as, if you would see T, then degree of freedom is 434. And next thing you have to mention the p value. So the p value here is 0.11, which is round off, like it was 0.10, and I have mentioned 0.11. Here 1.62 is t value, which is mentioned here as t 1.62. So you have to mention three values like t, then degree of freedom, then t value, and then p value. Thus our null hypothesis was accepted. Now I'm going to take a situation B where person conducted a test on males and females, and here the dependent variable is perceived stress, and we are going to see whether males or females take similar stress or not. So you can make your hypothesis as There is no significant difference in the mean perceived stress scores for males and female, and alternative hypothesis will be there is a significant difference in mean perceived score for males and females. The same assumptions you have to test, and you can perform the analysis. So here I'm going to perform this analysis again, and now I'm going to take perceived stress as our dependent variable. So here I have perceived stress score, and there is no need to change anything else. You have to just simply click on the OK button. Here you can see group statistics value, and as you can see, male are 184, females 249. The mean value for male 25, female 27. This result shows apparently that females take more stress than males, and we have to check the Levine's test assumption, which shows that we have to read the above line because this value is greater than 0.05, this particular value, significance value. And now you can see two-sided value, and this two-sided value will tell us that whether our null hypothesis is accepted or alternative hypothesis will be accepted. So in this case, our alternative hypothesis will be accepted because p-value is less than 0.05. Some student confuses this significance value with the hypothesis p-value. This significance value only deals with the assumption of Levine's test. It doesn't have anything with the hypothesis testing. If you want to see whether your null or alternative hypothesis was accepted, you have to go for this two-sided p-value, and you can see whether this value is greater than 0.05 or not. In the current scenario, we are going to accept our alternative hypothesis. How we are going to write this, we will see an independent sample test was conducted to compare the perceived stress score for male and female. We checked the assumption of homogeneity of variance and normality. We found no violation of this assumption. Levine's test value is above threshold, so we found no violation of this assumption. The result shows that there was a significant difference exist in the score for males and females. Thus, our alternative hypothesis was accepted. Similarly, you have to mention t, degree of freedom, t value, and p value. So, this is the whole procedure to perform independent sample t-test in SPSS, and you can also write the interpretation accordingly. If you want to see how to make the table of independent sample t-test in APA 7th edition, you can watch my other video, and the video of link will be available under the description. You can watch how to make the table of independent sample t-test according to APA 7th edition. So that's all. If you have liked this video, please do not forget to share the video, subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.